Snowpark for Python, native Python experience with a pandas kind of PySpark-like API. So we have a client-side API to allow users to write Python code. And then we also have kind of the server-side processing engine. So let's talk a little bit about the Snowpark client API and what's going on there, which is demonstrated or illustrated here in the top section of this diagram over here. So in the Snowpark client API, we're translating the data frame queries, right? We're serializing the Python code, and we're creating the connections to Snowflake. And then those translated data frame queries, that is representing a data set, a relational data set, right? That's evaluated lazily or as needed. So it only executes when a specific action is triggered, and a data frame, it's like a query that needs to be evaluated in order to retrieve the data. So important to understand that. And then with the Python functions and objects, so our Python code uses imported packages and objects from, so we've got a few options here, right? So the Snowpark Python APIs, we can also use common third-party Python packages from Anaconda, and we could use other third-party or custom Python packages. So we're not limited. We could use additional packages that we can load those into a Snowflake stage, and then we can import those from there. But there are some security requirements, and we'll talk more about that in just a moment. So those are the options of where we get the different functions that we want to use within our Python code. So that's kind of on the client API side. On the server side, processing, on the processing engine. So what's happening in Snowflake, and this is our kind of our diagram down here. What's happening is that the processing engine is processing the SQL that's translated from the Python code. It's translating that into SQL, and then it's going to process all of that in a secure sandbox, a Python secure sandbox. When we've got this, all in this environment, this is governed, it's secure. We don't have to worry about any issues, and because of the way that this is operating inside of a secure sandbox. So all that governance is taken care of for us, and that's going to allow us to operate with a little bit more kind of ease of conscience of knowing what's happening there, right? So.
Yeah, and some of this has to do with Snowflake being protective of the nodes on which your Python code runs. If you're running arbitrary Python code within a Snowflake compute node, you have a potential of creating an issue. So the idea around sandboxing is that if there is a runaway process, or if there's something that fails, that can be controlled within that processing engine. SQL is already managed within Snowflake, so SQL obviously we have control over. We could say how long the queries live and prevent sort of runaway queries from running. Same thing right now with the Python code, and it would apply for other things. There's a sandboxing mechanism, and so the libraries are important. So we're controlling and curating what libraries are able to run, but even more so, this idea of managing and putting a safety around the code that we're arbitrarily deploying. We also have a safe environment within that sandbox.
Hey folks, thanks for checking out this cut from our broadcast. To see the full show, click on the link in the video description. Also, check out our Learning Center, which has white papers, events, live streams, and short explainer videos on a wide range of data management topics. And of course, if you like our content, please share it on LinkedIn. That really means a lot to us. Thanks again for checking us out, and we hope to see you in our next broadcast.